I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
The pumpers are pumping this morning. Jump over to the chat. Emojis are firing away. Welcome to NHL Puck Props, presented by Sports Interaction with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo. How you doing, bud?
I'm great, man. You? Good to see your pretty face.
Oh, yeah, so pretty.
I heard you put on a clinic last week, went out with the boys.
Oh, yeah, a clinic. Yeah, too much of a clinic, we'll say that. But we're back here. Good to have you back. You should have seen the stack fest that was yesterday. I had five. I took my 5 best games, just double stacks, right? Same games, top 2 guys, one team, top 2 guys, other team, 5 teams. I hit 75% in every one of those 5 games.
Wow.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
The Kane DeBrincat hit, but outside of that, it wasn't anything fancy. They took away Shen point. Couldn't get my Tippett point.
You missed the open net. Did you see the open net he missed?
Yeah. Rust. I had Rust too. There was Rust had to hit a post in overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't really stacking, but hey, we're here.
Hey, we're close. We're close. I mean, we got our bounces a couple weeks ago. Now we just got to wait for those bounces to come back.
Yeah, I did the accounting. The accounting was done. The December numbers are in. We are plus 34 units on the year. That's pretty big. But like compared to where we were, this is year 3. I think we were like minus 10 units on the year 3 years ago. We kind of jumped up to like plus. So we're growing. The Puck Prop boys are growing. Aho Jarvis really no-showed. Carolina still maybe one of the most overrated teams right now.
Yeah, I think everything's catching up to them now, right? I think they surprised a lot of people through the first 2-3 months of the season, and now it's like, okay, we know who this Carolina team is, and they're having a hard time adjusting to that.
Yeah, Marco Rossi, somehow Minnesota had 6 goals, and their number 1 center didn't have a point.
Yeah.
They took it away. There was a lot of things that go on. Before I went to bed, I did snap rage bet Stone, Eichel, and Huberdeau and Kadri in the late games, and then went to sleep and woke up to a winner when I went to the bathroom like an old man.
Bang! Yeah. Yes.
It's always easier to go back to bed. But it has been a good year, and it's like it's funny, right? Like you see people talking about, can you be a 9% or a 7% ROI better? It's really difficult when you're just betting sides, like NFL sides and like minus 110 sides, but we're not.
Yeah.
We're taking shots at some big plus money stuff. In hockey, you have to, because you know the game, right? Puck luck is a real thing, no?
Big time. Yeah.
Bounces go
anyway. And you can see, like, there's teams like the Rangers and team like Ottawa right now that aren't getting a lot of puck luck. But early on in the season, Rangers got a lot of puck luck. Before the break, Ottawa got a lot of puck luck. And now Montreal's getting a lot of puck luck. So it's like every team has their own little sequences of puck luck. It's just a matter of if they can sustain it or
not. Brendan Vogan about 6 comments up saying he's kind of got some adjusted sacks going every day. They've been profitable. He said plus 5 units last night. The single game stacks, have been profitable lately. Stamkos got injured in that game, so he was out. So I luckily only had the Marchessault and Forsberg one. Turbocharger says, where do you share your picks when there isn't a video? All on X. Everything's on X right now.
You call it X, eh?
I've adapted.
Yeah, eh?
But like, what do you call like a tweet? That's the problem.
A post.
That's so generic.
But it's true. They call it a post now.
Is that okay? There it is. But we got a 4-pack today. Today's a funny one. I really like the money lines. Hit that, pump up those likes. That's what we're here for. That's what I need. That's the transaction. You get the pumps here, and I need some likes on the other side. honestly, I'd like square favorites today outside of the Florida-Utah game. Like, I'd be happy with a Colorado stack, a Colorado money line, Washington money line, Kings money line. I think that's plus 162. Square as hell, but I like those three teams. So we'll get right into it. Before I get into it, I do want to get a little Leaf talk going. You had a great conversation about what we've seen this morning about 91 and No C, and the production that he's had this year has been insane. How much pressure do you think exists in his life without wearing the C in Toronto?
Yeah, probably not as much as he's had to wear the last couple of years, right? I think you look at his first year in Toronto. It was an exciting time because he brought a lot of excitement from the signing with the group that was ready to take that next step with the contract, being a local boy coming home, 47 goals. Then the next year, he gets named the captain before the season. And I'm not saying that the C is a curse, but you look at the years 2 through 6, he doesn't come anywhere close to the production in year 1. And then this year, in his last year in the deal, he relinquishes the C and he's playing like he did in year 1. And it just feels like, I think it's more evidence of he's probably a guy that's just enjoying just going to the rink, doing what he loves to do best. And everyone that knows John Tavares knows that he's a very regimented guy. Like, this guy is, people say, a hockey nerd because he just loves and breathes and lives everything about hockey. He takes great care of himself both on and off the ice. And I just feel like without the weight of the C having to be the guy that has to, be the first guy into the media after every game, be the guy that everybody comes to when they need something done, or is the communication between the coaches and the players. That's a lot of extra responsibility for a player. And now he doesn't have to deal with that. And he's just focusing on playing. And I think he's reaping the benefits of it.
Nice. It's like an offensive coordinator who gets a head coach job but now has to head coach and call plays.
Yeah.
And sometimes doesn't work. But it's been really impressive. 34 looks to be, that top line. Matthew Nyes looks great right now. But as Darren Folk says, Matthews is back. This is probably the most excited I've been for the potential for what this team can do after 82 games. Would you not agree? Like, I know we always don't want to get too optimistic because we get hurt, but I think there's way more optimism this year in seeing what we can do in a 7-game series for sure.
Well, let's look at the things that have plagued the Maple Leafs in years past. Slow starts, can't beat the bad teams, falling into trap games, inconsistent play. You're not really seeing much of that in this group, right? They're beating the teams that they should beat. They'll have an off game, but they'll respond right away. Like, they don't let things drag out. Even in games that they lose, they're not blowout games. And even in games where they don't play their best, they're finding ways to win. That's something that has been very uncharacteristic of this group. And no one's talking about how bad this defense is. No one's talking about the goaltending. Just feel like there's a lot of things that are more positive with this group and the way that they're built and the way that they play versus years past. And I think when you say 82 games, I think that's what makes it more encouraging to think that the result this year in the playoffs could be different.
And when it comes time, when the deadline comes in March, they don't need much, right? Maybe something down the middle, down bottom 6. Maybe, I don't know if McMahon's the answer. I didn't really see much on that wing on the second line, but that's where it is. Like, right now you got Nyes on the top line. I really like what's happening. And then all of a sudden Anthony Stolarz comes back too, right? Yeah. There's a lot to like on this team right now. So,
and you're not even talking about his absence because Wall's come in seamlessly. He's regained his title as number 1 guy. Any spot start that you got to give to Murray or Hill the Beast, they're just finding ways to give this team a chance to win, which is what they're doing.
And let's be honest, Division's a little shittier too. Like
Who?
Florida's the division's a little
Division.
shittier.
Yeah.
Like it's nice, finally.
Yeah.
It's nice. Thank God.
Boston got booed off of home ice last night.
Yeah.
4-0 shutout loss to Edmonton.
It's one of the worst offenses in all hockey. It's the worst stacking team that exists.
Yeah.
Colorado, Chicago. Let's roll. Chicago plus 215. Home dog. Total 6.5. And kind of doing the same thing. Like, yes, Chicago's losing. But their scoring only comes from one place.
Yeah.
And I still really think Tyler Bertuzzi is wildly undervalued. So I'm really happy just to put the stack. So I'll take the full top line in Colorado, Duran, Ranson, and McKinnon, Bedard, and Bertuzzi, put them together, 525. I believe Bedard and Bertuzzi alone are like plus 210. Colorado, 7-1 straight up in their last 8. Chicago, 1-6 straight up in their last 7. That only win coming when I bet their team total under, which now that I look at it was a bad spot coming off the Winter Classic where they laid a dud. So they kind of had a response. And what
that was against Montreal, right?
Yeah. And what do bad and consistent teams do? But go revert back to them bad selves. And that's what we're going to see with Chicago. Here's Chicago. This is pretty funny. So Wyatt Kaiser says after the loss, he goes, it's just a lot of dominoes that don't go our way. Could have just said puck luck. Sure. He said, we're still trying to figure it out. That's not something you want to hear at game 40 of the season. Just trying to figure it out from one of your players. But through 40 games, Chicago has 28 points. Last year, at this spot, 26 points. So basically the same team. Where teams like Anaheim, plus 12 points, San Jose, plus 11 points. And we kind of throw them under the bus constantly. But this is a spot where have we expected more from Chicago in a second year of Bedard?
No.
You think this is what they are?
I've always said that Chicago's problem, even knowing that they won the Bedard sweepstakes, was that they haven't done a good enough job surrounding him with elite talent that could make him a lot better and make the team a lot better. They did nothing last year in his first year. They brought in Taylor Hall. I mean, Taylor Hall, what were they trying to do? Revive his Hart Trophy season that he had in New Jersey. And then this offseason, they bring in Bertuzzi and Teravainen. Like, I get those are NHL players, but do those guys move the needle for a Connor Bedard type of talent? No, to me, they don't. So that's going to be the challenge for Chicago, is to take that next step forward. Like, because Connor Bedard's, I mean, he's on a rookie deal. What do you think his next contract's going to look like to keep him there long term? Right?
I don't know. What's the cap going to be, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd have to think, if you're going to talking about an 8-year deal, it's got to, the number at least has to start north of 10.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
but like they're suppressing his output by playing him with these guys. Like,
I agree.
Like he has a case to be like, yeah, my number should be bigger because do you know who his winger is today outside of Bertuzzi? Do you know who the revolving door? It's Colton Dock. It's Kirby's brother.
Wow.
Look, I'm just looking at this list of wingers. He's literally played with every winger on this team. Taylor Hall on the second line. Nick Foligno, he's played with them. Ilya Mikheyev was on the top line last game. Teuvo Teravainen was the guy they brought in. He was on the line with him.
Right with Ryan Donato for a bunch of the time during the season.
And Donato, who's on the fourth line with Craig Smith and the Big Rig. Like, I think he's played with every single person on that team. And that is absolutely insane to figure out. Like, I've never seen that.
And that's why they're mad.
Pellegrini gets to play with Will Smith. Will Smith was what, a top 4 pick, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
and Tyler Toffoli, who's got a couple of 30-goal seasons on his resume.
Yeah, but like it's you can't just give him one guy, as you can see.
No, I agree. But that's why Chicago's a mess.
It is, but they're so reliant on that. Bertuzzi, over the last 30 days, it's 13 games. Bertuzzi and Bedard have accounted for 38% of the team's goals. 2 guys. That's not even the third guy. That's not even a line. That's just 2 guys.
Yeah.
It's Wait till Marner get to Chicago if Toronto doesn't sign him. Stop.
Go ahead. I mean, if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't keep Hall on that line either. I get it.
Yeah.
So Bertuzzi power play point?
Bertuzzi power play point has hit in what? Three straight games?
I would want to get it at like, unless it's a guy like Marner at like plus 200, like a Bertuzzi one, when you can get his point at like plus 120, I'd need plus 300 or better on Bertuzzi for a power play point.
Plus 425.
What?
Yeah.
And it's home too. But the only thing that does scare me about that is how good Mackenzie Blackwood has been for Colorado.
Is this going to be a Blackwood game?
It's a good question. Well, what's his face? Who else did they bring in?
Well, Wedgwood, he got hurt.
Injured.
So who would be the backup?
Oh, that's a good question. So I like this stack. I like this stack with Wedgwood. Why did I say Wedgwood? With Blackwood in net. Blackwood 7-1-1, like a 933 save since he's come over.
Because Colorado plays tomorrow night in Minnesota.
Oh, so they're going to go third goalie here.
Yeah, they're going to go backup. So Bertuzzi is actually a good play.
A great play.
Yeah.
Now we're talking things out.
The total's 6.5. So
it's a minor. It's a minor. Trent Minor.
That's who's playing in that?
Here you go. Set to make first NHL start. Minor will get his first NHL start during Wednesday's road game against Chicago, per Evan Rollin of the Denver Gazette. Boom.
So Tyler Bertuzzi power play point.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of things you can do with the Bertuzzi stuff there.
Yeah.
Colorado 76% on the PK. Thank you, Chris. 76 is bottom third-ish kind of. Yeah, I'll take that. Nice. Good talking out.
Hey.
That one's got me excited now, too.
And you can get Connor Bedard at plus 250 on a power play point.
See, all right, so here's the thing about power play points, and people like, because people love the big numbers, and I know lots of people love to play them, and I think there's an edge on them. If you're going to go to power play points, you got to be in it for the long haul. Like, you got to be like, I'm going to do this for like a couple weeks.
Right.
Because like, if you just do it one day and nothing hits, which happens a lot, then you've kind of thrown away your system and your advantage. I think you have to consistently do it. And you have to know those prices. Big Mike says, how do you know the prices? Because I constantly look at them. Like, if you can get a PP1 guy anywhere at plus 500, that's the thing. You saw Casey Middlestat not be priced into his number one PP role last game. He was plus 500, and now you see him where he should be, around plus 280.
Yeah.
So that's where it is. All right, good talking. Hey, pumpers, way to talk. That's what we're here for, helping each other out, talking things out.
Oh, here we go. Against Calgary, 5th in penalty minutes, 70 cent per PK. Grade A Fantasy is giving us some LA Kings power play point props.
Is Brant Clark at the top of that power play?
Yes.
550 is a gigantic number.
Ginormous.
Versus a team on the second of a back-to-back that's just coming off an OT game, too.
Ginormous.
That is a ginormous. It's ginormous. And he's putting it in his notebook. If anyone can check quickly as we get to when we get to the Florida game, let me know what I believe Boakfist is the power play quarterback right now in there. I'm not sure if he has a market. Vancouver, Washington minus 185 on the money line, total sitting at 5.5. And we got to go with Chikrin. He's leading the team in points over the last 30 days for a point. Even money. I think this is a good
He's
point.
a guy who's been on a power play point run too.
Yeah, and he'll be shorter than plus 300, I think, now, which was where my buy point with him was. But we were at a point earlier in the year where it was Carlson was tough to get at anything under minus 135 because that's where it was with this power play. And that power play was dog shit at the beginning of the year. The worst in the league was at like 8%.
Yeah.
It's a good power play now.
It is.
I need to ask your opinion on it because they're the only team in hockey that does it right now. The double DPP.
Yeah.
Right? The double DPP with Carlson and Chychrun. How can someone pull that off? Why do more teams not do it? And like, are there any advantages to it? I mean, both of those guys are great offensive defensemen. So if you have two, why not put them on one unit? No?
Well, I think the reasoning behind all that is because not many teams have more than one or two offensive defensemen in their defense group. And you'd have more forwards that are offensive minded guys. So
But they don't have that either, right? Like they don't have.
well, I mean, their top line power play unit has Tom Wilson on it, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got Dylan Strome and Ovechkin. Those are probably your best offensive players. And then your second power play unit is Mangiapane, Dubois, McMichael. Ovi stays on for the whole 2 minutes.
Double shift.
And Rasmus Sandin. So a lot of it depends on the personnel that you carry.
But right? that's good coaching, no? To realize what your personnel is. I think that's the best they can get out of that.
100% it is, but it's also, the player taking advantage of the opportunity. Like if a coach puts you on the power play and you don't produce, it's an easy decision for them to take you off. But that can't be said for Chychrun because he's been put on that power play and it's worked and he's been productive.
Yeah, last 13 games, 5 power play points. Vancouver, one of the worst goals against average over the last 2 weeks, 3.67. Demko possible, but he's been injured. Lankinen coming off that 5-goal game versus Montreal. Elias Pettersson still out. Vancouver 2-6 straight up over their last 8 games. Check out these teams: Montreal, Nashville, Seattle, Calgary, Seattle, San Jose, Ottawa, and Vegas is the only good team out of that bunch. So they're losing, and they're losing to bad teams.
Yikes.
I am not very privy. I understand that there's situations going on in Vancouver. Can you clarify what the, not like what the rumors are, what it is, but what's the situation? What's the gossip behind an uncomfortable locker room still? And I believe does it have a lot to do with JT Miller?
To be honest with you, I don't know.
Like I know there's rumblings, and I don't know it either.
Yeah,
like,
so I'm speculating on the rumblings too, and these are coming from pretty credible sources that have reported in the media that clearly there's a rift between JT Miller and Elias Pettersson that the Vancouver Canucks have tried to manage internally, and who knows how long this has been going on for. I can't imagine it's something that is, fairly new. And now, because it's become public, it's becoming a big distraction within the group, and it's becoming, I think, a little overwhelming for anybody within that team, whether it's players, coaches, managers, trainers, to manage it any further. So I think what this ultimately is going to lead to is some sort of divorce between one of these players and the organization. It's just a matter of who they choose and how they fix this, because when this first leaked, everyone's was a little skeptical as to if it was true or not, but no one in Vancouver, well, I guess JT Miller spoke about it. Pettersson hasn't spoke about it. The coaches and managers haven't spoke about it. So no one's shooting it down. So you'd have to believe that where there's fuel, there's fire, right? And they no longer want to play the babysitter role between two adults.
It's reflective in their record right now. That's for sure.
So I think it's inevitable that one of these guys ends up getting traded.
Russian saying, I see John Carlson at plus 105 too. Looked at that and just saw that Chychrun had been the much better producer, and it's reflective in the price in that spot. What else we have? We have no Connor Zary. Kermit saying no Zary in Calgary. Yes, he was injured. JT Miller to the Leafs from Insight. I don't know if there's enough money to get that done. And Protest is on fire. Yes, I do like that third line in Washington, but the issue is all three of them don't play any power play time together. You have Wilson on power play 1. Protas doesn't even play a power play role. He might be one of the best point producers at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's tough. I don't know. If there's a spot, if you can get like Strome, Ovi, Washington money line at like plus 140, I think that's a good move too. Another way to find that. But Jacob Chikrin is the only thing we got locked in there for a point at even money. Florida, Utah. Florida second of they're in Colorado 2 days ago, so they're coming back from altitude. The Florida offense, 1 goal, 2 goals, 1 goal, 5 goals, 0 goals, 0 goals in their last 6 games. They're in Utah. Yeah, yikes is right. Where Utah plus 140. Sorry, Utah on the money line's only plus 114. Like I wanted to fade Florida. But I thought I'd get a better price for Utah, but it's kind of priced in. Plus 114 is not a big number. And I think Utah, number 5 PK last 30 days. So hopefully that runs out. Carl Velmelka will be playing 2 or fewer in 6 of his last 12, dating back to December 1st. What's happened in Florida? I know it's not a team that you follow constantly.
Yeah.
But is this game 40 of a season? After a long run, after a couple runs, is this the attrition point of the season for the Panthers?
Yeah, it sure seems like it. Or this is a team that's just bored of playing regular season hockey because,
and that's the other point. Yeah,
they've been playing a hard style of game for so long, and they find themselves in a pretty comfortable spot, and they're like, okay, we want to get back to playing meaningful games, or let's call it how it is. This team lost a lot of good players with in their depth last year. They lost their whole fourth line. They lost 2 defensemen. They lost their backup goalie. They lost Tarasenko, which was a big ad for them at the deadline. And so maybe a lot of the guys that they had looked at to replace these guys, they've gotten off to good starts and they found a way to fit nicely into this system, but maybe you've gotten the most that you can get out of those guys and just don't think they're deep enough now, and it's catching up to them.
Yeah, and Aaron Ekblad, banged up, didn't play last game, not sure what his status is going into tonight, but Adam Boqvist is playing PP1, so that's a big difference there. Cooley Gunther, Utah money line, plus 375. Yeah, Utah's the only money line that I don't love. I don't know what the Cooley Gunther stack just together is. It's kind of out of my buy point because it used to be awesome. Now it's not so awesome. Florida and Carolina are similar. It's a really good point, and I'll throw I won't throw Tampa Bay in there. In that, I still think they're overvalued in the book, but I think Florida's starting to come down in value because plus 114 for Utah. I really thought Utah would be a little bigger. Plus 180 insight for Cooley Gunther. Not a bad price. So Boqvist has no market. Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate that. Sadly, no market.
So if you were to look at a power play point in this game, probably Utah power play point?
Yeah. So my brain immediately goes, okay, which team? Okay, let's go Utah. I like Utah. Okay, where are we going? Off the top, it's Keller, Schmaltz, Cooley, Gunther. And then you're like, okay. What about Sergey?
Sergachev.
What about Sergey? I think if you can get Sergey, my buy point would be, if you get Sergey at plus 300, I'd like it.
Sergey is plus 340.
There you go. Yeah. I think, yeah. But like, you want those guys, like when we're talking about power play points, and I brought it up yesterday in a tweet or a post that Lafreniere, they took Meek off the power play or something. They moved Kreider around, but Lafreniere was on the sideboard. And when you can get the defenseman or the 2 sideboard guys at plus 300 or better, those are spots where you don't want a bumper, you don't want a net front guy because they just don't get as many touches. They might get the goal
unless they're getting the back end, the backdoor tap-ins.
Yeah, or retrieving pucks, that kind of stuff. Sergey 350. I think if you're going there, if you're doing a little round robin with the power play points, I think Sergei's my guy. Final game, Calgary, Montreal. Calgary Kings minus 240, over under sitting at 5.5, as I'm slowly losing my voice because it's minus 8,000 degrees in Toronto right now.
I know. It's so cold.
It's so cold. Calgary coming off a 3-2 overtime win in Anaheim. That was a John Gibson start. Troy Terry, I believe his wife had a baby, so congrats to him. He wasn't there. He was voided. Kings on a 4-game heater have the rest advantage. They've been off since Saturday. They've also won against elite teams. Tampa Bay, New Jersey, Philly, and Edmonton. Calgary lost Connor Zary last night. I don't know how serious that injury is, but this is a bad spot. This is a very bad schedule spot for Calgary. Back-to-back, obviously it's in California, but back-to-back coming off OT versus a team that's on a heater, beating good teams and rested. And I just go Kempe Kopitar. Love them. I mean, that's 110. Like the money line will put there, plus 160. If you can't get that price, I think plus 140 is probably where you get that. King slam spot. Brewski says Kings lost to Flames earlier too. All right, rebound. Kopitar's what? That can't make any sense. Kopitar's look at all right. People are bringing up some very big power play point numbers for the Kings here in this spot versus the Flames, who not a great penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's always nice to have eyes on everything. Calgary.
Yeah.
Calgary sitting 28th, sub 70% PK over the last 30 days. Wow. Kopitar plus 350. That's nuts.
Well, the guy earlier said plus Brant Clark plus 500.
I like the Kings. I like the Kings a lot in this spot. The Kempe Kopitar stack, that's there. And I think you can get away with a couple greasy short stacks, right? You can get the Kempe Kopitar, you can get the Ovi Strome, and you can get the Colorado guys, and that's probably a good plus 300 somewhere there if you're looking for some all-day action. I apologize for my voice. I've lost it.
What's going on, man?
I've literally lost it. I can't talk on the air for 4 hours like you can. I had to host before you bet yesterday, and all of a sudden I've lost it. I need warm tea. I know. Oh well, but that's it. The pumper's been helping out a lot today.
Yeah, the chat was horny for us to get back today. I love it.
No, but I appreciate all that, guys. Like those power play markets that you bring up, the points that you bring up. I'm usually I'm looking heavily at the points market. Yeah.
Well, I just feel like on a day like today, when there's not a 10-game slate, you can bring more of these things up.
4-game slate is perfect. We say it all the time. 4-game slate is
Turbocharged. Just said it's the mom's trip for Calgary.
Stop it. The mom's trip. They're enjoying California. Stop. They're shopping. It's different than mentors and dad's trip, especially in California, right? The moms aren't even probably doing anything with the boys. They're out at the beach, right? Yeah. Josh eating those dirty no all dressed chips for me this morning, bud. Just literally, I've had like 3 liters of water already, and I can't get rid of it. So I apologize for that. But hey, 4-game slate. I know you guys talked in. I dropped 4 plays here, but it looks like you guys had a lot of stuff going today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great support from the Pumper family. Absolutely. But that's it. Like it's the price stuff. And that's where I'm here to help you guys in terms of where are the buy points. Like King Boog says, how does Josh know the price points for that? Because
he's doing it long enough.
Yeah, that's my job. But like when someone says Anze Kopitar for a power play point versus a garbage PK on a team on the second game of a back-to-back where their moms aren't helping them because they're out shopping at 375, that is a good play. That is a great play. Okay, now everyone's put together a round robin parlay. So good on you.
There you go. But tonight's a good time to do it, no?
4 games. I don't like the 5's tough because 5 round robin to 5. I mentioned it today. Round robin of 5's tough.
Yeah.
It's expensive and it's tough. The round robin of 4 is
reasonable. Yeah, it's reasonable.
Great. And you can go 2, 3, 4, and you're not going to be broke if it doesn't go. Like that's the absolute perfect little section if you can get some good numbers. But if I'm round robin and stuff like that, it's 2, 3, 4. I need 300 or better. All right. Appreciate everybody putting up with me and my crappy voice. But hey, back tomorrow. Bigger slate. Tea later. Stay warm. King Boog. Shout Rico love. Shouting Ricola again.
Ricola.
Oh, God. Love it. NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. Appreciate all you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Lead us out, pal.
Ciao.